International Court of Justice has stayed the death penalty last night awarded by Pakistan to Indian businessman Kulbhushan Jadhav. India had moved the court against Islamabad, pointing out the violation of Vienna Convention and the denial of consular access to Jadhav and a fair trial for him. But Pakistan seems to be unbending, its defense minister claiming that this was a diversionary tactic and Jadhav was a spy and a terrorist. Let's look at our top story tonight.
We're getting big breaking news coming in. The International Court of Justice.
This is a huge story, Archana, broken by India Today magazine's editorial director. I think
it was news that broke first on India Today TV late Tuesday night.
Huge relief for government of India. It's a huge relief for Kulbhushan Jadhav's family. It's a great
First, clear signs that law could come to the rescue of this man who's been at the receiving end of Pak torture for the past 14 months. Kulbhushan Jadhav, an Indian businessman from Mumbai, kidnapped from Iran and arrested on charges of spying by Pakistan. Not allowed any help from the Indian High Commission in Islamabad, Jadhav was sentenced to death by a military court in Pakistan. India was denied consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav by Pakistan government not once, not twice, but 16 times. But the Narendra Modi government persisted and approached the International Court of Justice on the 8th of May. The ICJ immediately responded by issuing a stay order on the execution of Kulbhushan Jadhav.
I would just recall to you that we had made 16 requests for consular access, which were denied. And of course, the visas applied for by the family so that they could personally go to Pakistan to pursue this matter, which concerns their son. They have not been granted.
What's important is the fact that World Court order is binding on Pakistan. The Indian side very clear that violation of the International Court of Justice's order could lead to international sanctions against Pakistan.
There are provisions. I don't want to elaborate, but there are provisions for international sanctions, for enforcement of orders. I mean, up till now, this has never happened. The three prior cases of Vienna Convention violation have been directed against the United States. And the United States has always carried out the order of the International Court of Justice. So that's the kind of respect people have for that institution.
Hearing in the case, meanwhile, could begin as early as the 15th of May, with the International Court now asking its member countries to appoint a quorum of judges to hear the case against Pakistan in Kulbhushan Jadhav incident. Bureau Report, India Today.
As the International Court of Justice then has stayed Kulbhushan Jadhav's hanging, the big question tonight, will Pakistan finally fall in line? Will Pakistan now give India consular access or keep us waiting? Does this ICJ move mark a shift in India's strategy? Is the case at ICJ India's best chance to save the life of Kulbhushan Jadhav? Joining me now, G. Parthasarathi, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, Admiral retired Javed Iqbal, diplomat and defense analyst, Siddharth Luthra, senior advocate at the Supreme Court, and Raj Chengappa, India Today Group editorial director publishing. Appreciate all of you joining us. I want to come to you first there in Pakistan, Javed Iqbal. Are you willing now to concede that Pakistan at the very least needs to provide consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav? It's more than just a rap on the knuckles. It's clearly the ICJ sending a signal to Islamabad that you cannot deny Mr. Jadhav his basic human rights.
I think Jadhav will be treated like, a sort of any person like him is being treated anywhere else. As far as,
Brigadier Iqbal, let's cut the chase today. 13 times, sir, with due regard, 13 efforts have been made by India to get access to Mr. Jadhav. All have been denied. Now that the ICJ has stepped in, do you believe that Islamabad will agree? Because the Pakistan defense minister today has tweeted saying this is only a diversionary tactic.
Look, you see, I am not representing Foreign Office or Islamabad.
Yes.
I am representing the mood of the people here, and what you do, because you also denied the Kashmiris the United Nations resolutions. So what is the big deal about here? We will want that Kulbhushan and people like this who are disturbing our peace should be hanged.
Sir, my point
and
is,
he will be hanged.
Whether he is to be hanged or not, whether he is to be hanged or not will be decided by the due process of law. I am saying, will he be provided legal access? Will the Indian government be provided consular access? Will he be provided the facilities that in any civilized society are due to a national from another country? There is a Vienna Convention, sir.
Is he civilized? Was Kulbhushan civilized? We are not signatory to that.
So that is your claim.
We have no...
My point is,
our claim.
Should he not be given at the very least, now that the ICJ has stepped in, at least consular access as per the Vienna Convention? Surely Pakistan, sir, doesn't want to become a pariah yet again.
You are pariah. We are not pariah. The thing is that you are pariah. Have you given access to the international, forums to Kashmir?
Sir, we gave full legal defense to Ajmal Kasab, who was caught red-handed in the 26/11 terror attack.
We don't care. We don't care what India says or what ICJ say. We will do and treat him, hang him.
Those are, those words at the moment, it's very unfortunate. I didn't want to make this a tutu meme. I was hoping we could rise above that. But G. Parthasarathy...
It's not question of, you are asking me...
Sir, I am asking you whether a country will give the basic human rights due to a citizen. That's all I'm asking.
I said your claim is wrong. If it would have been right, the government of Pakistan would have facilitated you. Why can't you understand that?
Because the government of Pakistan has chosen to treat this in a military court with all secrecy, without even ensuring any transparency as to what evidence exists.
This is exactly what we are doing with the people who are, acting like him. Even Pakistanis. We are treating him like that. So
okay.
The thing is...
I see that I'm hitting a brick wall. You have already decided that Kulbhushan Jadhav is a terrorist, is a spy, and therefore deserves to be tried in the military court and will be denied consular access, will be given the death penalty. And this despite the fact that your foreign office advisor to the Prime Minister Sartaj Aziz in December had said that the dossier did not contain enough evidence against Mr. Jadhav. Now in May, even after what the ICJ has said and stayed the death penalty, you're still claiming that he's a terrorist who must hang. Clearly, Javed Iqbal Sahab, we are living in different planets.
More evidence came.
Where is the evidence? Put it before the public domain. The evidence cannot be kept locked up in some military court.
When you are using pellet guns against the innocent Kashmiris, you are putting it in front of the people?
Please stop this whataboutery. We are talking about an individual.
You stop this. Stop treating Pakistan like Nepal, Bhutan or any other country. Pakistan is, on equal basis, and if you want the concessions, then you should also do the same.
I want to focus on the case of an Indian citizen. Let's focus on that. Mr. Parthasarathy.
I am focusing. Look, you see, you cannot focus on one thing when the entire canvas is polluted.
Admiral, I've heard you, G. Parthasarathy, respond to what you're hearing. It appears that if anything, Pakistan is getting even more belligerent. It's not just Admiral Javed Iqbal. I've just seen the tweet of the Pakistan Defence Minister saying that this is a case of state terrorism.
Well, I've met many distinguished Pakistani naval officers, starting from Admiral Ehsan, but I guess standards have fallen in the Pakistan Navy, because with people like Admiral Ehsan, the discussion and narrative was of a higher order. But coming to this particular case, Rajdeep, there are two conventions which need to be borne in mind. The UN Convention on Consular Relations. Now, this convention has been signed by both Pakistan and India, and Pakistan is bound by its provisions. Point number one, therefore, under this convention, they are obliged to provide us access to Kulbhushan Jadhav. Now, the Admiral, if he understands international law, will realize that there is such a thing known as the UN Convention on the Law of Treaties.
If you want to talk to me,
whereby your domestic
stop slandering.
Please. Admiral, please behave like a gentleman. Please behave like a gentleman of the... Please behave like a gentleman of the Pakistan Navy. You are behaving like your army.
You have gone down.
You are behaving like your army. You are a naval officer. Please maintain the dignity. Maintain the dignity of the occasion.
Sir, let's maintain some dignity, gentlemen. Gentlemen, let's maintain some dignity, please.
I am talking on international law. I am talking on international law.
A terrorist prime minister.
I am talking on international law.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Parthasarathi.
Now listen, I am talking on international law, and I don't expect a naval officer.
This is not WWF. Let's not reduce this to another mock fight. Let's try and seriously look at what happens next. Mr. Parthasarathi, to conclude. Mr. Parthasarathi, to conclude.
Sound like an admiral.
He should not be and he will not be.
Please have the dignity of an admiral. You're not talking to Jamaat Islami. You're talking like Jamaat Islami. Now, the fact of the matter is that under that treaty they are obliged to provide us access.
You are also not talking to one of your...
Yes, sir.
You are also not talking to some
Admiral Saab, let Mr. Parthasarathi finish.
You see...
Please, Mr. Parthasarathi, let's avoid personal comments.
Look, I treat all our neighbors as equal.
You started first.
Whether you are China or Nepal, you are all equal.
Sir, can we please focus on this?
No, we are talking on a... We are talking on a simple matter, the trial and its legal implications. Now, the legal implications is what I am giving you in terms of international treaties, which as a naval officer you should understand, but I am afraid you don't. Now, the second convention is the Convention on the Law of Treaties. Pakistan cannot say under this treaty. Pakistan, please.
About myself.
Okay. Now, let Mr. Parthasarathi conclude. Mr. Parthasarathi, please conclude.
Mr. Parthasarathi,
I'm not giving a
what are the conditions? You don't know anything.
Under the Vienna Convention, under the Vienna Convention of Law of Treaties.
You have violated United Nations resolution.
Convention of Law of Treaties.
Absolutely.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to switch off the mic for a moment. I have no choice but to producer to switch off the mic. Mr. Parthasarathi, I'll come to you in a moment. I just want to take a breather. Raj Chengappa, you're smiling and listening. Is this to my, the manner in which Pakistan is already responding? I said it's not just Brigadier Admiral Iqbal. I've just got the Defence Minister's statement clearly suggesting that Pakistan does not want to take a step back on Kulbhushan Jadhav, despite the fact that the ICJ, by staying this order, is somewhere sending down some kind of a signal to Pakistan that you cannot treat a citizen of another country like a terrorist without providing evidence in the public domain. You will have to give consular access and legal access at the very least.
Well, I hope it doesn't deteriorate in the manner that has just happened in this discussion.
Yes.
We had broken in the morning that the ICJ is likely to meet on May 15th, that's Monday, where both the parties would be called. And if Pakistan, for instance, decides to boycott it, I think one of the good things of this move is that international spotlight will now focus on this whole affair. And that's very important because clearly there's been a violation of the Vienna Convention. As you said earlier, India has made almost 15 to 16 representatives. His mother, Kulbhushan Jadhav's mother, has also appealed for access as well as a petition. Now, what is the options the Indian government has? It is denied consular access, it doesn't have any documents of the case, it cannot, the other options is going on, say, for a pardon from the president or appealing to the Supreme Court. In this case, I think the Indian government took the wisest decision to move to the International Court of Justice because firstly, it brings international spotlight. Secondly, if Pakistan begins to violate whatever the conventions they've signed, they will face international problem. We could even go to the Security Council.
So you think that India was left really with very few choices in this case? But I just want to understand one point that Raj Chengappa raised, Siddharth Luthra, as a lawyer. Jurisdiction. Could Pakistan tomorrow say that the ICJ's jurisdiction doesn't apply to us? That we have decided this under our military courts. And in that situation, what does India do?
I think we need to understand that the Vienna Convention is a convention to which both India and Pakistan are signatories, and Pakistan has given jurisdiction to the ICJ. Therefore, Pakistan can't turn around and say that the ICJ does not have jurisdiction. And the ICJ, exercising that discretion, realizing that there's an emergent situation, has acted in terms of Articles 73 and 74. And therefore, my belief is, and I'm speaking purely as a lawyer, I'm not here to try and, I don't represent anybody, but as a lawyer, when we read the convention, when we read the Vienna Convention, when we read the ICJ's jurisdiction, and we also look at the agreement on consular access between India and Pakistan, it becomes very clear that the jurisdiction cannot be faulted. The issue will be, Pakistan will perhaps try and raise arguments, and it's not my job to advise them what to do or what not to do. But today, on jurisdiction, I would submit the ICJ's decision of today and the ICJ's proposal to consider the matter on 15th cannot be faulted.
Cannot be faulted. Admiral Iqbal, I'm going to try one more time, and I would request you, sir, let's not get into a slanging match. You know, the fact is the International Court of Justice carries a certain sanctity. Will Pakistan respect the sanctity of an International Court of Justice? If a country wants to be part of the Committee of Nations, you have to respect surely international law. Will Pakistan respect that? And as I said, provide consular and proper legal access to an Indian citizen who you are declaring a terrorist without providing evidence in the public domain?
Okay, the thing is that this is, not the simple case. It is the case of spies. There is no agreement as such between India and Pakistan to provide such facility to spies. So the thing is,
you keep calling Sir Mr. Jadhav a spy, but then the evidence must be put out in the public domain. You are entitled to fight this out in the ICJ. My worry is you've already preempted what the ICJ is saying, and our fear in India is Mr. Jadhav safe at all? Is Mr. Jadhav even safe?
You are not letting me complete.
Please complete.
You are not letting me complete.
Please do.
Look, you see, the thing is that everywhere internationally the spies are treated differently. So Yadav was caught as a spy. He was, using Balochistan and also using raw agents and creating disturbance in Karachi, bloodshed in Karachi. So the thing is that we are treating him as spies, and no international forum can push us to, listen to them. Because if they want that the spy should be let go, we will not let go, we will hang him. He will be put to gallows, then let the International Court of Justice do whatever they like. So because even India, also, look, you see, let me complete. Even India, who is part of Committee of Nations, have really, carried out similar torture on Kashmiris and not listening to United Nations. So what lesson you are telling us?
It would be a strange day if we would compare a very open legal system with military courts in Pakistan that have been put in place to try terrorists. But either way, Mr. Parthasarathi, do you believe that this is a case of a spy, as the Pakistanis keep insisting, and therefore they believe that the spy is not entitled to the legal protection and even the Vienna Convention safeguards that any other citizen would have?
No, look, there are two Vienna Conventions. There's first this Vienna Convention on Consular Relations. Under the Vienna Convention on treaties, you cannot take domestic law to override the obligations of an international treaty. And Pakistan is a signatory also to the Vienna Convention on Treaties. So it cannot say my domestic law requires a military court so the Indians can't do it. That is illegal internationally. And I'm coming now to the real politic of this, Rajdeep. Firstly, the fact of the matter is that the Iranians also are upset because their narrative of the Pakistani narrative that he came from Iran, spied inside, suggests an Iranian culpability. Right now, Iran has threatened to even attack Pakistan, and the Iranians are quite likely to demand access because this is a person who was living under their protection in Iran, and if, as we claim, he was kidnapped, the Iranians are responsible. So there is a third party, the Iranians. They can't deny the Iranians access and say we'll do what we want. As for what the Admiral is saying, a separate law for spies, no such provision exists under the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties or on the Vienna Convention of Consular Relations. No such provision exists. So this is a Pakistani interpretation. Lastly, I think the Admiral should realize that this sort of rhetoric he is using and threatening will kill Kulbhushan Jadhav based on our terms. Look, India may be very patient, but we also have our leverages which when we consider it necessary we will use. What is sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, and the Admiral better watch out. We could someday have a person of equivalent rank in our custody.
That fake cross-border strike, like that fake cross-border strike.
No, let's now try to raise the level again. Let's try and raise the issue again. This is about human rights. Gentlemen, this is about human rights.
I'm just
most welcome.
No. Let's go back to Siddharth Luthra, because you wanted to make a point on this whole issue.
One last point. Rajdeep, I have one last point.
Yes.
People who live in glass houses should not throw stones. The killing of Baluchis, the culling of Pashtuns, I mean, it's barbarous. Ask the Afghans, they'll tell you. Ask the Iranians, they'll tell you.
And it applies.
What is Pakistan?
It applies to you also.
No. It's again down.
India.
Again, we are getting into this Siddharth Luthra, you wanted to make a point.
Ask your neighbors.
Rajdeep,
both are Islamic.
The point is this, Rajdeep.
Yes.
If I may,
yes,
Rajdeep, on 13th September 1980, when Pakistan acceded to the jurisdiction of the ICJ, there is no exception made for political matters, and that is the most important point to be noted. Pakistan did not seek any exclusion on these grounds. There is nothing in the Hague Convention that protects or justifies Pakistan's stand, and it is unfortunate that such a stand has been taken in the past by Pakistan, and today also that's what been said by the Admiral, and I believe that that is not in consonance with international law, including Pakistan's own document, and I have a copy of the document here.
Given what you're saying, Raj Chengappa, there is the law and there is politics. At the end of the day, whether Mr. Kulbhushan Jadhav is hanged or not, will it be decided by law or will it be decided by politics? Already today reports are coming of more civil military standoffs in Pakistan between Mr. Sharif and the army there. In this scenario, will Mr. Kulbhushan Jadhav sadly become a victim of what's happening within Pakistan? That politics will decide whether he is given pardon or he's allowed consular access, or will it be purely decided on the basis of the law as set by the ICJ?
Rajdeep, I suspect it will be a combination of both. What this particular move that India has made, which is an excellent move by the Ministry of External Affairs, is bought time. Otherwise, we had that 60-day sort of period that which...
You're convinced on the other hand that Mr. Jadhav is still alive. Till date, we have not been given by Pakistanis any proof as yet that Mr. Jadhav is alive, because that is the other fear that is being expressed. What are the Pakistanis hiding in this case?
Well, clearly they haven't provided any documents to us despite our repeated pleas, and as well as the fact that denied consular access. So that is something that we need to what you've raised to think about. But I think here what will happen is that firstly, on Monday when the court meets, on Monday, May 15th, we'd certainly see arguments from both sides coming up. What this does is give us a little breathing time for further kind of thing. Now, if Pakistan wants to push it to the edge, as the Admiral says, and as Ambassador Parthasarathi says, then there's going to be retaliation of different kinds that could be worked out. But if, for instance, what would they gain apart from the fact that, the international community begins to watch them and they do things that are wrong? They lose the moral ground. We have the moral high ground on this front. Second, they would, I think, in some senses, want to continue to use Jadhav as some sort of negotiating thing, a swap arrangement, something. The moment they kill him or execute him or hang him, unfortunately, if they do, that precipitates
It's
matters.
almost playing like a game of poker with the life of a man. And that's the fear, Admiral Iqbal, that I have, that Pakistan here is trying to play some kind of a game of poker. You have no concern for human rights of an individual to the point where you will not give consular access, but you will continue to play this game of poker with the life of an individual. Okay, Admiral Iqbal, I'm told, has walked away from the program. I'm going to leave it there. Clearly, it appears, therefore, Mr. Parthasarathi, you managed to get under the skin of the Admiral, and the Admiral has chosen to walk away from the show. Thank you very much, though, to my guests for joining me. Let's then turn to my take on the issue that Pakistan remains adamant that it will not give Kulbhushan Jadhav consular access reveals that a section of the Pakistani state has complete disrespect for human rights and the law. Even the ICJ's tough message seems to be falling on deaf ears. It is time then perhaps for the global community to keep the pressure on Islamabad to fall in line. Let Jadhav become a test case for the commitment of the civilized world to stop Pakistan from using its military courts to violate the rights of an Indian citizen.